Hi, welcome back to my channel. So I'm so excited for this video. I'm not sure how long it's gonna last, but I'm going to be filming my journey of reading the Ethics series by Ashley Antoinette. I actually have already read the first book. I gave that one a 5-star. This is an urban fiction series. It's very popular. Lots of books because it's a whole world. Everyone says you need to start with Moth to a Flame first. I did that. Gave it a 5-star. And then this is where everyone kind of says different things. Some people say then you can read the Ethics series and then the Butterfly series. And then I've seen 2 people say the Prada series, then the Ethics series, maybe a novella, and then the Butterfly series, which was the order that I was following. I ended up reading Moth to a Flame, and I was gonna read the Prada series. However, I ended up getting an email saying, come pick up your book, which was the first Ethic book. So I ended up reading Ethic. I definitely understand why they say, or some people say, to read the Prada series first, because I kind of felt like it was spoiled a little bit. I'm still gonna read it. It's just gonna be out of order. It'll probably be like the last series that I read. But I say that all to say that I do have the books. I only have 4. So I did read the first Ethic book already. I gave it a 5-star. I don't know how much to say because you need to read Moth to a Flame first. I know, so it follows Ethic, and Ethic is from A Moth to a Flame. He works with Raven's dad. If you guys know, Raven is the main character from Moth to a Flame. How many times have I said the name of the book? I'm exhausted. And it also follows Morgan. Morgan is Raven's sister. That's kind of all I'm gonna say. But I'm just gonna be not really talking about the book, but talking about my feelings because I don't want to spoil anything. I have books 6, 5, 4, and 3. I don't have book 2, which is the one that I need. So I'm gonna have to get it off of Amazon. I'm gonna have to buy the ebook. It's $9.99. It's gonna kill me, but hey, I'm supporting a Black author. I just honestly hate Amazon. I can't tell you the last time that I bought something off Amazon. Okay, so I have a little update. Ignore my hair. I don't know what's going on. I'm in my room. So I read about 15% earlier today. Oh, by the way, this is the same day that I started filming this. I think I sat down right here and started reading at about 5 something. It's now 7:04, and I read about 37%, just back to back. Like, I didn't pause it or anything. I was just sitting here reading. I like it. I'm enjoying it. I don't know if I'm gonna give it a 5 though. I'm thinking more of a 4 right now, just because I don't really feel a lot has been going on, if that makes sense, which is crazy because people, I've been talking about this series and me wanting to read it on my TikTok, and people have been saying oh, in general this series is a roller coaster. But I have seen some people say book 2 they took a pause. Book 2 was really wild, but I haven't seen something huge happen. It right now, not really. Compared to the first book, no. The first book, I mean, I don't know how she thought of what happened in the first book. There was so much. I could name you 3 scenes right now that was absolutely crazy. You would think I was lying. This one, not so much. I'm scared because this one, I think we're focusing more on Messiah and Morgan. And Messiah works for Ethic or something like that. And there is a little age gap between them, or a big one. I don't remember what the age gap is. She's 18, he's probably 20 something. I'm assuming 23 or 24. And I'm seeing more of them in this one. Whereas the first Ethic book, it's a mixture between Ethic and a woman named Alani, and Messiah and Morgan. And in this one, we have seen some of Ethic and Alani, but we're focusing more on Messiah and Morgan. We're seeing, this relationship between them. And I don't know. I'm scared because I'm something's gonna go wrong. Something is bound to go wrong. I have 2 hours and 3 minutes left of this book. I'm gonna try and read it throughout the Housewives, because honestly, I don't even really watch it like that anymore. I just let it play in the background. I feel like these books in this series, we're gonna always build up to something, and then like the ending is gonna be like, what the hell? I have a feeling all of the endings in this series are gonna be wild and crazy. I did end up finishing Ethic 2 last night. I was looking for the physical book and forgot I read it on my Kindle. I'm conflicted about the rating. I think it's a 5. I might give it a 4.5. Still round it to a 5. Just because, what are y'all doing? Dummy. Compared to the first book, I felt like the first book had more like what the F moments. Trust me, the second book still did. However, I guess because Ethic was the first book, there was just a lot more going on. And so I guess I kind of knew to expect out of whack moments. It didn't come off as out of whack moments, if that makes sense, because I was expecting it. I don't know. And I just want to say I feel sorry for all my author buddies that are sending me, you know, like ARCs, because I'm a part of their ARC team, because it ain't gonna be read anytime soon. It's not gonna be read this week. I'm telling you that now. This is my main priority, okay? Firstly, the second book was not as bad as I thought. Again, I think because I kind of knew what to expect going into it. This is my third book of Ashley's in general. I know she's gonna be doing some crazy stuff in there. I guess I should be saying it wasn't as much of a shock. That's what I should say. Next, the only character in this one that was like, got to go, that was super annoying, was Morgan. So there's a situation going on, right? And it's between everyone. We have Bella, who is one of Ethic's daughters. Morgan, who is she is Ethic's daughter, however, biologically, no. I think I've said it before. Morgan is the sister of Raven from Moth to a Flame, which is why you need to read that one first. But that's Ethic's daughter, period. Argue with your mama. But we have Bella, we have Morgan, we have Ethic, we have Alani, who is Ethic's love interest in this book. And there's something that happened, and I just did not like Morgan's character, her reaction when it came to that situation. I don't know, I felt like she was doing too much, but like at the same time, I understand how you're feeling, but like, stay in your lane, okay? Because now you're hurting Bella. And Bella is my girl. I love Bella. I mean, I love them all. I don't know, she just rubbed me the wrong. I'm like, stay in your lane, girl. You're getting on my nerves right now. Quickly. So we have a love interest for Morgan. His name is Messiah. I like them together, but I don't even know if I should be shipping them together. Ashley has this tendency of writing, not the characters aren't like, the characters always have red flags, don't get me wrong. But like, sometimes you can kind of, the characters do something where you kind of forget about it, and you not forget about it, like it's still in the back of your mind, but you're still rooting for them. So I'm rooting for Messiah and Morgan, but I'm scared because I know how her books go. So I don't know if I should be rooting for them or not. I'm just gonna say that. And then lastly, I'm so torn between Alani and Ethic. Again, something has happened, and I understand both POVs. Like, I understand both of their, what do you call it? But I understand both of their feelings. Like, to an extent, you know what I mean? And it's like, I'm so torn because sometimes it's like, when I'm reading it, now this is third POV, so it's not like but when we get to a chapter, and sometimes in chapters, we do tend to focus on a certain character. I'm not really sure what that literary device is called. I have no idea. It's kind of like when we're reading like from Alani's POV, it's kind of like, dang, you know, I understand what you're saying. Like, Ethic needs to chill a little bit, but then you get to Ethics, and it's kind of like, oh, he has a point. Like, I understand. It's like, are we gonna get anywhere? But yeah, Ethic 2, crazy. I think I still do prefer Ethic 1, but I think that's only because it's the first book. I have a feeling Ethic 3 is gonna be a roller coaster. I feel like, I don't know. But yeah, I just want to say that I did end up starting Ethic 3 today. I would like to finish it today as well. I started it on my lunch break. I have a couple of other things to film. I'm currently on page 35, chapter 4. So I did start and finish Ethic 3 yesterday, which was Monday. I'm reading these so fast that I'm having to write down, stuff on my stickies because everything is like jumbled up. So like now I can't remember what the second one was about and like if I'm confusing it for the third. But we're just gonna go by my stickies. Number 1, I don't remember if I expressed my dislike for Morgan for book 2. I'm gonna express it here. I do not like Morgan at the moment. She's just so young. She's naive. I mean, can you really hate her for that? I don't know. Her and Messiah live in Delulu land. Honestly, I wrote that down. I don't know what they're doing. And she does something at the end. When I tell you I cringed so hard, I'm like, what? Enough of her. Let's just get into what I loved about this one. I just loved seeing Ethic and Alani together, honestly. Let me just say that it was going so well. And then we get to a certain part, and this is where I think the Prada Plan series comes into play. This is why some people said you should have read that before this one. Because there's a character named Yaya. I don't know how the Prada Plan series is set up. I don't know if like each book is a different couple, because I feel like I've looked it up before if Yaya only has like one book or something. But Yaya comes back in this one. She is also in the first book of the first Ethic book, but it's I think she's briefly mentioned, but she actually comes into this one. So let's just say that when I do read the Prada Plan series, after seeing her character in this one, I honestly think it will like negatively impact my experience of reading her in the Prada Plan series, if I'm being honest. I just didn't like her. What made me not like her was because I didn't know her. I'm trying to keep this as spoiler free as possible, but I do have a favorite moment. There's a scene towards the end where Easy, who is Ethic's son, mentions this dream that he had, and oh my gosh, it was just amazing. It was so cute. So with that being said, let me try and sum up Ethic 3. What did I do with the book? Oh, let me just sum it up. Ethic, Alani, love them. Morgan, Messiah, ugh, trash. But I think my feelings might be changing a little bit because I did also finish Ethic 4. So I started it this morning, finished it today. Y'all, by the way, I work 8 hours a day. I work a full day at work. So the fact that I was able to finish this at 7, let me see. It's 8:05. It's currently 8:05. I think I finished this at 7:51. Or no, 7:50. And the fact that I'm able to like finish these so quickly, I need to write some notes on my stickies before I get into this so that I'm not rambling too much. But yeah, I just want to say that I finished this yesterday and finished this today. Okay, I'm back. So for y'all, this is the next clip. For me, this is the next day. And I said that I would come back and talk about Ethic 4 after I wrote down my notes. So this one, I feel like we're picking the plot back up. I feel like this book gave the same vibes as book 1. I felt like books 2 and 3, with book 2, we had so much stuff go on in book 1. Book 2, we were kind of dealing with the aftermath, like where are we going from here? Same thing with book 3. We were kind of taking like a hopeful turn in book 3, and I feel like I can finally see that happening. My thoughts have changed a little bit about Messiah. I'm not surprised. I kind of figured that that would happen. Morgan, on the other hand, absolutely not. She's even more unhinged in this one, and she is so frustrating to me. It honestly feels like she's being someone that she's not. Kind of like her sister Raven in the first one, but I feel like, I don't even know. There's something that happens in this book, because again, the plot is picking up, so we got a couple of twists that come out, and her reaction is crazy. because it doesn't fit her, honestly. But what's crazy is, if you didn't even read this series and someone shows you Morgan from book 1 and Morgan from book 4 side to side, you're gonna be like, that's not the same person. However, if you put all the books out, book 1, book 2, book 3, book 4, you can kind of see the progression to how she is in here. But if you were to take books 2 and 3 out and just show books 1 and 4, it wouldn't make sense. It still don't really make sense. And what causes her to react to me made no sense. Like it made sense, like why she was mad, but it was so unnecessary. It was miscommunication. And that's not a spoiler, because this entire series, if there's one thing that you should know, miscommunication is the biggest trope. Like, I was reading it and I'm like, why are you not just explaining what is going on? Like, why are we here? I think I would give this book a 5-star compared to book 3. I might end up giving book 3 like a 4.75. Honestly, I don't know what I'm gonna do about book 2, because that one, I don't know. It's like, this series to me is so hard to rate because there's so much going on and it doesn't feel fair to rate that. But it's also like, out of all the series that I've read, it's so binge worthy. And it can't just be this series, because I felt the same way about Moth to a Flame. I think if I'm comparing all the books, I feel like this is definitely a 5-star, whereas book 3 might be a 4.75, but it's still going to be rounded to a 5. Now, let's get into what I'm currently reading. I'm currently on book 5. There's one more book left. I'm on page 188, so I'm actually ahead of schedule. Kind of, not really. But I figured that books 5 and books, let me go grab it. Books 5 and 6, I just would not be able to read in the same day. This one may be, because it's honestly only about 50 pages more. I went ahead, I was able to finish book 4 early yesterday. I said I finished at 7:50, so I went ahead and started Ethic 5. I ended up reading 70, it was 70 something. My dad knows I'm filming, so he's texting me to ask me stuff. Progress. I think I stopped on page 70 something. Yeah, I stopped here last night, so I read 72 pages and I stopped on page 73. So already, just from this morning and my lunch break, I've read this much. So I'm proud of myself because I was able to get past the halfway mark. I'm hoping that I read enough that I can finish this early to where I can read a good bit of book 6, because the only way for me to finish it tomorrow would be if I read over 100 pages, because this is 400 pages. This is, I'm trying not to spoil anything. I just spoiled something for myself. But it's because, okay, so it's 411 pages. Okay, book 5 is done. I did finish it yesterday. Not all in the same day. I did start it the day before, because I didn't think that I would be able to finish it early enough for me to start book 6. But we'll get into that. I don't know what I'm gonna give this. Or did I decide on a 5-star? I think I decided on a 5-star. I could be wrong. The best word to sum this up would be frustrating. It's like we make progress with Ethic and Alani, and then all of a sudden different things start to pop up. And it's annoying because I love Ethic and Alani so much, and it's like I want them to figure it out. And then you have Morgan, who is like getting in the way. And that's my biggest issue with this book. This could be a little on the spoiler side. I'm going to try and keep it not spoilery. But Ethic and Alani have a very deep connection. And my thing is, I understand why they have a connection at all. I mean, he's like a second parent. Well, he is a parent to her, literally. And she is Raven's sister. I understand that. But I'm not understanding why it's such a deep connection. And I thought about this, and Alani said this before. It's like an obsession. And Alani does state that it's not really like a romantic obsession or anything, like not like lovers. But I honestly said in my head, yeah, I agree and I don't agree. Because I would not be surprised when I get when I see Ethic and Morgan together. I told myself I would not be surprised if they kiss. I literally said that. It's that obsessive. And I'm like, what is going on? That is really annoying in this book. My favorite scene, I said this in my TikTok video. There's a therapy session in here, and Bella, I don't know if I've talked a lot about her, but I'm assuming she might be getting her own series. I don't know. She is 12. She ends up turning 13, I think, in this book. And we're seeing a lot more of her. I think we actually start to see more of her in book 4. And I was really worried because I'm like, we didn't get her, POV before. And it's like, why now? But I guess it was setting up so that we could revisit her some more. And we do in here. And she hit the nail on the head in this therapy session. And I was like, you ate that. And then we have, some more Messiah and Morgan. I really don't care about them. Like, I care about Messiah, honestly, but I really don't care about Morgan. So I'm not even going to talk about her. So I ended up finishing this book around 6:50ish, which put me at a great advantage. Is that the right wording? Right sentence? I was able to read not quite the halfway mark. Or did I read that? I did. I was able to read half of Ethic 6, which is the last book. I only have this much left. So this is 5 books in 5 days, literally, because I started on Sunday. Even though technically Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, that's 4 days. But is it? I would count that as 5 days. I don't know. Oh, what I will say is I haven't really been looking at reviews or anything, but I did, and I wish I didn't, but I did kind of look at some of the reviews for this one. Like, I didn't read it, but I looked at the ratings. And like some of my mutuals, I saw one of them gave it a 4 and one of them gave it a 3. Literally, she gave all the books a 5 and not this one, so I'm kind of like worried. Now I feel like I am far enough that I can say I'm more than likely going to give this a 4-star, but we'll talk about that more than likely tomorrow. I'm in my smoothie era, by the way. It's been a couple of days since I've updated, but I was able to finish Ethic on Thursday. Ethic 6, it is now Saturday morning, 9:40 a.m. I'm gonna give this book a 4. Let's talk about it. So it's a huge book compared to the other series. It's like twice the size. These are all about 250 with the exception of book 5. It's 308. This is like 411. For this size, I was still able to binge it and finish it very quickly, but at the same time, it felt like for this amount of pages, there wasn't a ton going on. In this one, we don't see a lot of Morgan. She's maybe at the beginning and towards the end, maybe a little bit of the middle, but not like the other books. She's not in this one like that. This one, we really are focusing on Ethic and Alani, and because this is the last book, it's like, where are we going to get with them to? We need some kind of reconciliation or something. We have had issues throughout the entire series, but they've been fixed, but book 6 is the only one that there was one specific thing that hadn't really been reconciled. Is that the word? That hadn't really been touched on, that needed to, and we needed to get somewhere with it in order to move forward. We do end up getting to it in here. Other things come out in this book as well. I was like, oh, what? Like, it really was shocking because it's things that are mentioned throughout, but it's like it was so long ago that you forget about it, and then all of a sudden it pops back up in this book, and it's like, is that where we're going with it? And then we go there, and it's like, oh my gosh, we went there. Like, how did I not think of that before? Now, the one thing that I will point out about this book is the sex. So it is in the series, in the whole series, there's lots of it. However, it was very noticeable in book 6, but not like in a good way. Like, it would just come out like out of nowhere. Like, we could be crying, or fresh not we, but she could be crying, and then like it happened. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. But the one the one that I'm thinking of, they got dressed, they were walking outside to the vehicle to go to a restaurant, and he couldn't help himself in the driveway. He could not wait. So then they went back inside, did it again, took a shower, got dressed again, and then walked out to go to I say it was a restaurant, but I think they were going to meet someone. Like, what? It just felt, the sex in here just felt so unnecessary because, I don't know. It just felt unnecessary in this book. Like, the amount that it had. Now, I will say throughout the entire series, there are many scenes where, kind of like wrong time, wrong place. Is that the word I'm looking for? Like, we can wait a little bit. Like, that feels weird to have it in this scene. I also do get more of Bella in here. And she has her own little love interest, Hendrix, and I really hope that they get their own book as well. But I honestly don't want it to be like the Ethic series or like Moth to a Flame, or I haven't read the Butterfly series yet. But, you know, I really want it to be on the sweeter side, if I'm being honest. But yeah, I was happy that we got to see more Bella in here. I love Bella. I will say, I saw someone's review. I don't remember if it was for book 6 or not, but they meant it could have been. Because I feel like out of the whole series, if you look at reviews, I think we get a lot more mixed reviews on book 6 compared to the other ones. And I think it was this one where someone mentioned that, how is it, you know, we were able to see some kind of character development with Bella and still nothing with Morgan. As a whole, though, I would say that this is like a 4.5 to a 5-star series. It's definitely worth it to read. And so I've actually been keeping track of my feelings towards all of the books so that I could quickly like give maybe a word or like a quick summary of each book and how I felt. So book 1 was traumatic. I always say, or I've said in my head, if you could barely handle Moth to a Flame, do not try Ethic 1. It gets better, but Ethic 1 out of all of these books is like, what the hell? And I've come to realize Ashley is probably one of those writers where in her books, if you think a scene is leading up to something that could be like traumatic as hell or like so tragic, and you're in your head like, well, she's an author and it's fiction, it's not gonna go that way. It will. You know, in other books that I read, I've read scenes where it's like, oh my gosh, it was such a close call, and it's like nothing happens, like that person is saved or something. Not in these, especially not in the first book. There's no saving going on. Whatever you think a scene might be building up to, it's gonna happen. So Ethic 1, traumatic as hell. Book 2 was on my Kindle. My thoughts were all over the place in book 2 because of everything that had happened in the first book up to the last page. You know, we were getting some answers. We were kind of seeing how everything that happened in that first book was gonna play out in the second one. So I was just all over the place because I'm like, oh my gosh, like I love Ethic and Alani, but like, is this person going to be forgiven? Yeah, didn't know what was going on with that. 3, I would say I was hopeful. Even from everything that had happened in book 1 and book 2. Book 3, and it feels like book 3 is the shortest, and I don't think it is. I could see a happy ending or I could see a white light at the end of the tunnel. Now, mind you, we were only halfway there, but I was feeling it, you know? Book 4 is either, I was debating between Delululand and WTF, because WTF, like, what? I think in this one we focused more on Morgan, Delululand, because book 5 is frustrating. I would say that I was very nervous going into this series because most people say that it's such a roller coaster, and I was having doubts because I'd been reading, you know, 1, 2, and 3, and yes, like it was bad, like emotional and stuff, but I wouldn't say that I was kind of like feeling that roller coaster vibe. But I felt it in book 5 because I'm like, are we gonna get somewhere? Because, you know, we make this progress and then we take 10 steps back and we start all over again and we build this trust again. So book 5, you just got to get through it. Book 6, I would say book 6 is satisfying. I will say it could have been shorter. I feel like once I got to about the 250 mark, which I mentioned that because the rest are around 250, so I would say around the 250 to 270 mark, I was kind of like, what do we have next? What could possibly be in the next half? I didn't mention that before, but that is one of the reasons why I decided to give it a 4, because I was feeling that way. I'm like, I just read half and I would be satisfied if it were to end there, but it didn't. It kept going. I'm like, oh my gosh, what do we have left? But we get somewhere. We do. So yeah, these are all the books that I read this week from Sunday to Thursday. I would say that the series as a whole is worth it. It's just you got to beware of trigger warnings. I mean, any kind of trigger warning that you can think of is in here, except for like animal wise. There's no animals in this book, because I know people consider like animal cruelty or whatever as a trigger warning. That's not in here. But like any other trigger warning that you can think of is in here. Miscarriage, sexual assault, rape, sodomies. Is that the word? Sodomy? I can't think if that's the word to use, or sodomization. Sodomy. I think that's the word. What else? Violence, abuse. Wait. Abuse? Yeah. Child molestation. Like there, anything that you can think of is in here. Now I will say, as far as like these trigger warnings being on page, it's ethic 1. So that's what I'm saying. If you can't really get through Moth to a Flame and you want to read ethic 1, just be prepared that a lot of it is going to be on page. I feel like some of the other trigger warnings that we have, that we see throughout the rest of the series, it's kind of off page, where it's kind of just being mentioned. I don't remember if it's like in detail or not, but it's not on page like book 1. But yeah, I did it. We did it, Joe. We did it, bookish friends. That's enough. Yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next week. Bye. Okay, so I did not film a thumbnail for this video because it's been in the clip the whole time. Okay. Do I need to get lower? I think we're gonna go for tearful. Wait, let me actually get up a little bit. Okay. Do I need glasses? We don't cry today. Okay. Is this all of them? Wait. Give me a second. Does that look ugly? I don't know what it looks like. Okay, wait. What's on my hair? This one's not gonna be forever. That's obvious, y'all.